Rugby league and entertainment. Here's a man who's been here before. He's played in all the tough games, played in a couple of grand finals. Mark Geyer. Hey, how blessed are we?
Oh, how good is this, Kenny? I mean, no, I never, as a player, was lucky enough to play in a grand final here at ANZ, but I know exactly what the players will be feeling at the moment. There'll be a lot of nerves, a lot of excitement, but 5 hours from kick-off, bring it on.
Okay, I can't believe how good the ground is right now. I mean, underfoot, okay, there's a little bit soft, but nevertheless, you would never know that you've had all this rain over the last 24 hours here.
No, this is very similar to a Friday night footy in the middle of winter. A little bit dewy, but not uneven whatsoever. It's pretty solid, and I think the players, look, I don't think any either team will benefit from it. I think both sides will come out and play their expansive game, and in particular Parramatta, who are averaging around 26 offloads in the last 12 weeks.
Okay, we've got plenty of football, as we said before, the big game a little later on this afternoon, which everyone's looking forward to. But we've got a lot of prelims. We've got the New South Wales Cup, and Terry Lamb, well, he's involved in it, and he'd be teaching some of these young fellas some of the old tricks.
Yeah, in about 15 minutes' time, the kick-off starts, and Barbar, he was a legend of the game I played against. He's the coach of the Bankstown team up against the Tigers, who finished sixth. So a big contest coming up. Can't wait to get up in the commentary box with Vossi and Gus.
Well, I always remember when you were playing the game, every time you came out for a big game, your eyes were like saucers. They're almost getting there, and it's pretty scary.
What do you mean, Kenny? What are you talking about? I love grand final days. I love rugby league. Let's face it. I mean, this is the ultimate. To be here in the first week of October, these two teams have come from nowhere, I think. Melbourne in particular, everyone keeps speaking about Parramatta and their run, but the Melbourne side have basically been very quiet this year. I expect them to be explosive today, but also I think the momentum of Parramatta may just get them over the line.
Well, I can tell you, coming here this morning, this morning, there's people filing up right now. They're getting ready for the afternoon. As we said, the rain has disappeared. There's plenty of Parramatta colours. They're going to absolutely dwarf the Storm colours, but that was always to be expected. Always,
yeah. I think the whole of Sydney have latched onto this Parramatta bandwagon, this juggernaut. I don't see any difference today. We're going to see 85,000 screaming fans. Probably 80,000 of them are going to be Parramatta.
Okay, mate. Well, you're primed. You're ready.
I'm pumped.
You're pumped. You're ready. God, you're a big unit.
We can make the new trophy, me and you.
Yeah, good on you. I'll play the hooker. Okay, we'll be back with more from NRL Grand Final Day right after the break.
Yeah.
Melbourne Storm against the Eels. The grand final of the decade. Live. On Nine's Wide World of Sports.
Grand final day on Nine's Wide World of Sports, and the early days really here at ANZ Stadium. Still a little bit of rain about, sun trying to peek through, and gates opened not too long back, and we're not far away from this first match on Grand Final day. Decider in the New South Wales Cup, an 11-team competition. Some of you would be surprised that they still play a top 8, even though they've only got the 11 teams, but we end up with a clash between Balmain Ryde Eastwood, 6th, and they are the feeder team for the Tigers, up against the minor premiers, the Bankstown City Bulls. And in matches head-to-head between these clubs this year, they are one apiece. Balmain Ryde Eastwood Tigers winning back in round 4, 34-26, and more recently round 18 to the Bulls, 48-22. Let's have a look at the sides. You'll know plenty of the names in the Bankstown City side. In fact, 11 of this starting 13 have played first grade. Brent Crisp at fullback, Hecka Nanai and Nick Taylor on the wings, Tim Winatana, Matt Utai in the centres, Pee-wee Moke and Ben Barber the halves, and then the forwards. They've all had first grade experience. Tamari, Danny Williams, Brad Moran, Charlie Liano, Fred Briggs and Trent Cutler. And they have an assortment of replacement players to pick from, but the top 4 they've ranked there: Nathan Smith, the hooker, John Kite, who's off to Melbourne next year, Foster and Ala Toa. Terry Lamb, the coach, the great man, at the helm, and he's had a lot of success in the lower grades with the Bulldogs. And he was a first grade coach at the West Tigers. And live pictures from the Balmain Ryde Eastwood huddle. Lee Bennett, bottom left of screen, their captain. This is their side. Meany at fullback, and Manley Jr., Callaway and Rajika on the wings. Great talent, the winger, the 18-year-old. Bennett and Ryan in the centres. Cowan and Josh Lewis, one of their more experienced NRL players at halfback. Forward pack, no great first grade experience here. Farlow, Webster, Mataka. We saw Chernak make his debut with the Tigers this year. Gower and Carr, Ryan Carr, Cronulla Jr. And on the bench, Hawkins, Vinakisi, Lane and Moses. Paul Fletcher, coach of this side. That came through Golden Point last week. They defeated North Sydney in Golden Point extra time, 21-20. And through the course of the finals, the Tigers have beaten the teams that were placed second, third and fourth. So they need the minor premiers for the box set, if you like. It was a big upset a couple of weeks ago down in the Central Coast. Central Coast Storm side, 24 points to 18. So very much the underdogs today. Maybe they can set a bit of a standard for the teams that are underdogs through this afternoon and this evening. It'll be the West Tigers underdogs in the under-20s against the Melbourne Storm. And then in first grade, Parramatta, according to the betting agencies around the country, and indeed TAB Sportsbet, they are the outsiders against the Melbourne Storm. And on TAB Sportsbet, you can get $4.60 about Balmain Ryde Eastwood winning this one. First team out on grand final day. And they had a bit of a banner malfunction as the side comes out. You can see the bottom of the screen, the banner's just an absolute wreck. This Tigers side, just a handful will be part of the first grade squad next year. Here it is. This is Sterling, shades of Sterling, Origin, Los Angeles, 1987. Sterling's been waiting for that. Been waiting for someone for almost, 22 years. For someone to get caught in a banner. And Lee Bennett has the honour. I just wonder whether it was a club G-up because he is in the sales department at the Tigers and maybe it was an insider job. The Bankstown City Bulls out onto the field on a day where Matt Utai will play his final game for the club. And I should mention too about Matt, tragedy hitting the family this week with his grandmother passing away and the tsunami in Samoa, and the Bulls players wearing black armbands as a sign of respect. So a tough time for Matt Utai, and he will fly in fact out of the country on Tuesday. But he said to Terry Lamb that he will play today. So we wish Matt all the best. He's been a fine player for the Bulldogs. Grand final winner here in 2004 on the first grade stage. I can still remember Matt Utai scoring a try in that bottom corner, northwestern corner here at ANZ against the Roosters. Yep. So we're ready to get grand final day underway. Adam G, the referee in this one. Good luck to your teams if they're competing today. A massive day on Nine's Wide World of Sports, and a great pleasure that we are in the position to bring you all the action. It's Brett Crisp to get us underway. MG and Gus Gould will join me, Wally Lewis and Tim Gilbert down on the sideline. And it is the Tigers running from left to right. The old jersey of the Balmain Tigers. Good to see it on the grand final stage. And it is Farlow hitting it up over the 20-metre line. Moran gets in over the top. Barber, I don't think I've called a lower grade game with such a contrast of players and a team with so much first grade experience against a team of, well, just a smattering of NRL games in it as the Tigers get the first penalty, MG.
Interesting to note too, Vossi, that I was down there pre-game and the surface is sensational. We've had a lot of rain over the last 48 hours, but ANZ Stadium surface sensational.
Wait for the go, hold.
So Tigers up to halfway. Ryan Carr it is with a restart, and straight away for David Gower, who we saw make his first grade debut in the last round of the year against the Bulldogs. Didn't get a great deal of minutes. Al Chernak centre field, ball has come loose, and it is Gower onto the ball, 37 metres away from the Bulls line. So a bit of an early chance for them. A little bit of pressure on the minor premiers, and they get another penalty.
Lee,
they're lying on Sean Meany there.
Straight into his.
He's got a reputation of being able to get under an opponent's skin, the fullback Sean Meany. And Lee Tamari, the player, penalised, and no thought of going for goal. Josh Lewis straight away for touch. When we have seen Josh Lewis in first grade, we know that he possesses one of the biggest kicking games in any grade. He has got quite a boot on him. He was the Golden Point extra time field goal kicker last week. Tigers with Carr, and a dummy and turned inside. Mataka is only 5 metres away. This is pressure now on the Bulls, and David Gower in front of the posts is held up. Briggs across there. Crisp called into the line. Now Carr has a little shot at them. They push him in goal. He can't force the ball. And Gus Gould also in commentary. He loves it. We've got no video referee. The in-goal judge there.
Time's off, Ron.
Two bodies in the official shirt. It's the in-goal judge and the referee on the spot to adjudicate, Gus.
So refreshing.
Trent, push right up close.
That's happy Gus, folks. That is happy Gus. And now the Tigers with it. Lewis sends them out left side. Cowan dumps it off inside, and Willie Mataka is pushed and pushed back a good 6 or 7 metres. And that is the last for the Tigers. 18 out from the Bulls line. Cowan across to Lewis, an attacking kick to the corner. Getting through is Rajika. Underneath it is Taylor. And that's a good take by the young winger on the left for the Bankstown City Bulls.
Trent, wait for me, mate.
And they will get the ball back, and in fact get the ball for the first time on the 20-metre line.
Yeah, big games like this, sometimes it's good to have a little bit of pressure early on your defence and see if you can aim up. And even though they haven't had any possession yet, the Bulls have shown that they've got the ability to keep the others at bay. It's a good sign early.
Good hit. Great hit.
I think it was Farlow who took him front on. It was Farlow, the lock forward, with Al Chernak. That's the best tackle we've seen on grand final day. We might see a better one in any grade. Now, Williams 5 minutes inside the half. Here's the tackle again. It's well finished off by Jared Farlow. Attacking kick here for Taylor. Getting across is Meany. He's missed it. Then caught the push in the back. I think if he doesn't pick up the ball, he may well have got a penalty. Taylor was pretty blatant with a push. Watch it again. At the end of this, it's a terrible bounce. But Sean Meany, the Manly junior, covers up. And Tigers back with the ball. Well, joining us on the sideline for this one is the King. Great to have him with us, Wally Lewis. Good afternoon.
Rossi, I think the Bankstown supporters will be feeling pretty comfortable. It was a fairly tough start for them. They were certainly on the back foot. A couple of penalties put them under pressure very early. But you can see the first opportunity they get to attack, they're certainly going to put every bit of pressure they can on the Balmain side.
Here's the long kicking game of Lewis on show, and he finds the grasp. And Brent Crisp is across to it. And they tell us he's off too young to captain coach next year, Brent Crisp. Will take 7 NRL games in experience off to the bush, and a whopping 288 points in this grade this year. Here's Utah with a trademark charge, hard to pull down and earn his team a penalty. He is a brick, you know what, Matt Utah.
Oh, he's got pool table legs, hasn't he? Unbelievable power. Probably too strong for this group, but look for a big game from Utah today.
And the Bulls now will test out the Tigers' defence. 20 metres out from the line. Trent Cutler, it was with a free kick. Fred Briggs slows it up for Barber. Barber out for Pee Wee Moke, and then they throw short. 15 metres away, and they'll get a penalty again.
You punched it out.
Punched out, they say, pointing at both Matt Ryan and
wait.
Gavin Cowan.
Where you go now?
Bulls are going to take a tap. Keep the pressure on. Moke feeds it along for Moran. Moran, 11 metres out. Tackle number 1 for the Bulls. Feeder club for the Bulldogs. Now dummied from Pee Wee Moke. He's only a metre away. He was a real schoolboy star, just hasn't quite kicked on, Pee Wee Moke. Now the Bulls back towards the posts. They are over. It's an unlikely first try scorer. I think it may be Fred Briggs who's got over. The Bankstown City Bulls are the first try scorers on Grand Final Day 09 and lead by 4 points to 0.
Well, that's a big thrill for Freddie Briggs, isn't it? Big Freddie Briggs crashes over alongside the post to open up the scoring in this New South Wales Cup Grand Final.
Grand Final Day, and Brent Crisp with the shot at goal. And this to take his tally to 290 points. We're watching him, Gus Uretti's first grade debut, I think, when the Bulldogs played Manly last year and scored a try in that first night. Looked a pretty handy player. Brent Crisp, player with an AFL background, but he'll be putting into bush footy. Let's go down to the sideline right now. Tim Gilbert
Bossy, yeah, a couple of Bulldogs, pretty happy with that try and the conversion. Andrew Ryan and Michael Hodgson, also two former Parramatta players. How's it going to go this afternoon?
Yeah, mate, I'm tipping a great match. I think it'll be a thriller, but hopefully, yeah, I think Parramatta might get home in a tight one.
One of your great buddies, Nathan Hindmarsh, playing for them.
Yeah, a few of the boys out there that I used to play with, so I'm sure they'd be pretty excited about today, mate.
Michael Hodgson, a lot of talk about your designer stubble, but how's this game going to go?
As you mentioned, Tim, I'm not prepared, but the game this afternoon, very excited. I'm mixed feelings about obviously being beat by Parramatta, but having a connection there. Played 3 years when I began rugby league. I'm hoping they get the win today.
Do you think they will?
I think it's going to be a tough grind, like Andrew said, but yeah, I definitely think they're in the momentum and they'll do well.
Thanks, boys.
And thank you, Tim. Tim be out and about chasing some rugby league identities this afternoon. At the start of that interview, you saw Daniel Holdsworth in the background. It's a rather complicated qualifying system, but he was ruled ineligible for the grand final today. He would have been eligible as long as the Bulldogs stayed in contention in first grade. Despite the fact he spent more time in this grade than first grade this year, he still didn't qualify.
Yeah, you get the feeling that this Bankstown team won't need him today. They're very strong and powerful.
Now lock forward Tamari, almost slicing through. They've got the leg up here with 3 straight penalties, the Bulls. Now Barber, we know he can score a try. Real will-o'-the-wisp, the halfback, crisp into the line. And a thorough test for the Balmain Ryde Eastwood Tigers defence early. Brad Moran will be back on deck with the Bulldogs next year, held up by 3. Farlow there with Bennett. Last tackle, Barber got away from one. Overlap on right-hand side. Barber keeps it alive. Now Winatana. Great defence from the Tigers in the corner.
Wasn't touched by Tigers.
And they hang on.
Change over.
And it is 6-0, but it could have been a lot worse.
Lee, just hold there.
Matthew Ryan out there in the centres. This father-son link across all grades today. And Matthew Ryan, son of a former Balmain Tigers captain in Trevor Ryan. Well, he was a good player. Played for his state. Was a back row, but also played a bit of centre as well, Trevor Ryan.
He was a very good player. He spent some time at the Newtown Jets too. Also a very funny man. Trevor Ryan, from what I can remember.
And now back with Lewis kicking from 30 out. He would have been one of Singo's signings for the Newtown Jets, as you were, Gus, in the huge financial times of the early 80s at the Jets.
Yes. I didn't see the huge financial times. Trevor Ryan did. He was also a player of that era. They trained hard, they played hard, and they partied hard. And Trevor was good at all of it.
I like the man.
Gus was paid a 3-figure sum to go to the Jets from the Panthers. It was big news in the Warragamba Post. Remember that, the Warragamba Post out there is now Williams goes forward and inside the 40.
I think the first year I had to pay them to take me.
Now Cutler in a dummy half. And Barber at first receiver kicks high from 35 metres out. It's a mighty bomb for Meany to defuse. Crisp goes up AFL style. Bats it back for Liano. And Big Charlie, not the chewing gum, but the player, has knocked it forward. And the Tigers are in possession.
I've got to say the surface is remarkable, isn't it? I mean, I'm just trying to get a guide for the games later on today. Obviously the big one, the Storm up against Parramatta. And I came here with the amount of rain we've had in Sydney thinking that the surface would be wet and slippery and a real leveller, but from what I'm seeing out here, the footing is sure, the bounce is good, and the handling's been okay. So, this surface, and if the rain keeps away, is going to quicken up as the afternoon goes on, which is a good sign.
Outside legs up.
Well, there's certainly not going to be any Proven summons photos on grand final day. We'll never have those times again.
No, well, the fields in the old days, back in those days, they had no grass on them. Come this stage of the year, they'd be all worn out and there'd just be dust bowls, and if you got a bit of rain, it was a mud heap, particularly out there at the cricket ground. But these days, look at this. First week in August and beautiful green grass, well prepared here at the stadium. It's no wonder the football is so good.
Yes, getting more melancholy on us early in the day. 11.5 minutes gone here.
Oh, but I love the mud heaps. I used to love to play on the mud heap.
Well, let's be honest, the field at either end of this stage of the day be covered in dunny paper. People always brought it along to the ground and threw out the rolls. And Moran only a metre away from the line. They lead by 6 points to 0. They're deep in their left. Pee Wee Moke out to Williams, the captain. Now Barber Knocked off his feet by Lewis, and then can't pass. 12 metres away from the line. And Crisp in a dummy half. Thought about attacking short side with Williams now. Oak to centre field. And really speared into the ground in that tackle legally. Good one from the front rower, Chernak. Last tackle for the Bulls. Barber kicks across to the wing. Hekanenai battered down. It's still on there. Tigers have come up with it. Willie Mataka onto the ball.
Well, it's a couple of really good sets of defence on their own line there by the Tigers, because the Bulls have thrown plenty at them. They've got some tricky customers out there, but the Tigers' defence has stood sound.
And Ryan to play it. And now for Billy Callaway.
And I suppose, boys, it'd be very easy for this Tigers outfit to be in awe of most of these Bankstown players, having all of them play nearly first grade, but they're holding their own well. And I agree with Gus this thing. Great defence, 2 sets, beautiful.
Here's Lewis attempting a 40-20. It looked pretty good off the boot. And Nanai is sprinting back for it, cuts it off. Not a bad shot there from Josh Lewis before the last.
He's a big kicker of the ball, Josh Lewis. He's certainly shown some potential over the years. He got a couple of cracks in first grade and never quite kicked on, but the kicking game has never been in question. He can really give the ball a boot, and the 40-20 is not beyond him at any time.
Well, he's the only player in this Balmain Ryde Eastwood side that has double figures when it comes to NRL games. He's played 25. And when you go across to the Bulls side, and you've got to play like Utah out in the backs. He's played 127. Played for his country.
Well, I first saw Josh Lewis playing in the lower grades in the junior reps at the Dragons, and he had everything going for him. It's amazing how some players kick on and others don't. There's not much difference in ability or potential at certain ages, but some just are able to handle the rising class, and others struggle a little bit. Some come back later in their career, of course. I mean, it's not over for Josh Lewis, but
Tigers now trying to get out of trouble and spent a fair bit of time in their own half. The captains come centre field to take a run. Only just outside the 20, and now Fletcher Hawkins, who's on the field. Had to go to the interchange inside the first 15 minutes. Try and freshen up. Lewis kicks them out of the 30. Again, he's found the grass. He's done that with every kick, every long kick today, and that's quite an achievement. Hekanenai back for it. So even Hekanenai on the wings played 21 NRL games.
Well, we've got a great example of it this afternoon in the main game, don't we, with Jeff Robson. I mean, there's a fella who's just persevered, and suddenly the sun shines on him, and he's in a grand final in first grade. It's amazing how it can turn around.
Well, I'll give you another stat. I think off the top of my head, I think we'll find there's 8 Bulls players here that have played more first grade games than Ryan Tandy, who after 5 games for the Storm is in a grand final. He is a remarkable story. Right at the moment they're watching the Bulls, and Barber's got a kick, wants it to pull up. He's not going to be successful.
Well left by, was it young Raquika?
Ryan, wait!
Well, his teacher at Holy Cross College told me it's pronounced Raquika, so you're not incorrect.
Okay.
But then the Tigers here said Rajika.
Let's say Raquika. I like a quick.
He was still in school on Friday at Holy Cross College, great nursery for rugby league talent. And here he is running it out, and the Tigers get a penalty. And the reason he's in this grade, he was in the Toyota Cup squad all year,
10 metres,
but was late for training one day, was dropped, and ever since then hasn't been able to get his spot back. So he got dropped out of the Toyota Cup side into the Balmain Ryde Eastwood side, and his replacement there, who we'll see later, has done the trick. Now the Tigers, they lose it on tackle 1. They say strip. Jared Farlow lost the ball.
Just wait.
Now, I think we're going to get a caution here. We've had 7 penalties in the first 15 minutes of play. The referee will now say that's
we've
enough.
only had about 15 minutes gone, okay? We've given away 4 or 5 already. All in the ruck, clear it up.
Yeah. Yes, referee pointing out the bleeding obvious.
Bleeding. He's a good player, the captain for the Bulls too, Denny Williams. I don't think we've seen the last of him in first grade.
Very good player, Bossy. Very good player.
Got a man of the match here one night. Channel 9 man of the match. Kai Boy. And now Jared Farlow. 12 metres out from the line. The Balmain Ryde Eastwood fans down the southern end of the ground are getting excited. David Gower. 5 from the line. I don't know what you're thinking. Expecting to run through covers as now Gavin Cowan goes short. Webster. He's only 2 metres from the line. And back they come. Not a great ball for Cowan, the bearded one. Then on to Lewis and away for Meany. They're flat. Bennett drops the ball. Cops one in the back. Meany gets across to it. He's covered up. Tigers lose 20 on the play. Tackle 4. Now Quicker Rajika. He's 23 metres away from the line. 17 gone. Tigers looking for their first points. As Carr Lewis under pressure, got away from Tamari, throws a dummy, keeps it alive for Cowan. Still the last tackle. Cowan's kick is covered up by Crisp. That was a pretty nifty take. And the Bulls have the ball.
Yeah, the Bulls tried to put some pressure on Josh Lewis's kicking game there, but he was awake to it. A good right foot step, got him into some space, and they nearly come up with a nice try.
That is snaffling the ball, Brent Crisp. 31 metres away from their own line, the Bankstown City Bulls. Pee-wee make that slow motion stuff, and their try scorer Fred Briggs was knocked down. He may have even lost the ball. He had a look at his teammate for the pass. Kick from Crisp was deep off the boot. This is from inside the 40 as well. And the Tigers across to it, Billy Callaway, or Big Bertha as they call him. Meany's now got the ball. He's over the 20.
This is the little period where I reckon grand finals can be lost. They can't be won during this period up to half-time, but it's where you can make a muck of it. You get over the nervous energy and the emotion of the early stages. We're 18 minutes into this contest. So the team that handles this period well up to the half-time break can set up victory. Conversely, if you don't handle this period well, you can let it slip and you can't get it back.
So it's also quite evident, boys, that the Bankstown team are a lot bigger. This may affect them if the sun does come out and shine.
So now Carr, and they shift down the left side. Cowan along to Mataka. He's got the job of working that corridor down the left.
Well, I've got to say, all the energy is with the Tigers at the moment. They're showing more spring in their step than the other side.
Deep on the last tackle. Lewis is now in two minds. Now for a moment he had three teammates in front of him. Flick out the back. Bennett's onto it. Bennett a fumble. It's the last tackle. And it's a bit catastrophic, really, that play for the Tigers. Not to apply any more pressure than that.
Well, it's the second time they've spread the ball to their right and lost about 20 metres in the play. And the passes are deep to people standing still. They've got to be moving, or they've got to get the ball going over the advantage line just to get the Bulls to sit back on their heels a little bit. At the moment, the Bulls can just rush forward and know they're putting plenty of pressure on their opposition.
Go to the side.
Here's penalty number 8.
Lee, come here, please.
So now it's the Tigers captain who'll be called out.
I'm watching both ways for the attempted milking. Okay, same warning as them. Too many penalties early on. Talk to him.
Not much of him, the young captain for the Tigers, Lee Bennett, but gee, he can hit. A couple of big hits on some of the bigger Bankstown forwards have really stood out.
You know, he's been around a fair while, Lee Bennett. He's had a few clubs, the Dragons and the Roosters, lots of lower grade, but as I mentioned earlier, he works in the sales department at the Tigers, and they respect him as a great club man. He's now 25 years of age. And an offload there. And Smith is on the field, and he's tackled 28 metres out from the line. Ben Barber on it comes with John Kite. Another one of the big boys. You line up Kite and Liano alongside of each other. You've got a fair set of bookends there. Now Moran. He's 13 metres out from the line. Been a while since they've been down this end. 20 minutes gone in the New South Wales Cup Grand Final. Pee-wee Moke with a couple of dummies. Then Crisp onto the ball. He's closing in on the line, and he's closing in on 300 points for the year. And that ball knocked out of the hand of the dummy half. I think the slap was on the arm rather than the ball. The Tigers come up with it with Matthew Ryan. And they're outside the 20. And Gower storms onto it to get them outside the 30. Good counter. Quick play the balls and away. Quite a contrast in how these two sides got here. Through the final series, the Tigers have had 3 close games, all decided by 6 points or less. Bankstown City Bulls, week 1, they beat Newtown 52-30, and last week 40-14 over Wentworthville. Maybe that will tell when we get down into the championship minutes of this one. Farlow has offloaded, and Fletcher Hawkins onto it, but they called the pass from Farlow to Hawkins forward, and I think they got it right.
Yeah, it was unfortunate. It was a nice little passing rush. And as I said earlier, all the energy is with the Balmain side. They're the ones that are really putting some energy into their work. They're busting their backsides to get involved. And for me, the Bulls are just coasting a little. They've got that 6-point break on the scoreboard. They're the minor premiers. They've had a pretty cruisy sort of season.
Lock in, Lee. And
you would hate to think they're underestimating their opponents.
They started the season way back with just 2 wins in their first 4 games, but since then have lost only 3 matches since the first month of the premiership. Now Tamari, Joondalup Giants Junior from Western Australia. Through the Dragons and on to the Bulldogs. Now Smith. Got to remember Michael Sullivan would have been playing in this match today too, another player they had in their ranks. The former Shark, and now put down by Barber. Tigers come up with it. Michael Sullivan, they tell us, off to Orange next year to captain coach.
I like to see that. You know, it was a trend years ago where players that sort of finish their time in the big league and then go back and help out with country football. We don't see as much of it these days. At the end of the seasons, you get a lot of country clubs ringing up for references. That's been a trend that's sort of been resumed in recent times, so it's good to see.
Cowan across, and the Tigers are deep and right. Lewis out the back, build up is good. On it comes with Bennett. Bennett cops a shoulder, got away from Utai, kept it alive and put down. Put down by Meany, and the best chance for the Tigers so far in the match.
Unlucky result there for the Tigers. It looked promising, didn't it? They looked so expansive and flamboyant, but just that last pass didn't stick for young Meany, and they're looking very lethargic, the Bankstown Bulls. Very lethargic indeed.
Let's go down to Wally Lewis.
This experience really is a wonderful thing on that last play. Josh Lewis really opened up a wonderful opportunity for his teammates to be able to cash in on. He struggled a little bit at the start of the game, but now when all the bigger blokes are starting to do it a little bit tough midway through this first half, he really is taking control.
And the Bulls from the scrum with Tim Winatana. Remember, betting live on all matches today, courtesy of TAB Sportsbet. And the Bankstown City Bulls into $1.10 from their starting price of $1.18, and Balmain Ryde now $6.25 out from $4.60. 1-3-3-3-9-0.
Going to have a caution here again, I would say.
Lee,
for
we just spoke
penalties.
over there. Okay, it's only hurting you blokes giving away penalties and yardage. He's grabbed his arm, put it right back in the dangerous position. It's on report.
So that's the 9th penalty now. And if we keep up this standard, we'll have 90 by the time the full-time siren blows. I think it's best that the referee have a rest and just allow the game to continue.
Pulled up Willie Mataka there. With anguish in the Tigers coach's box.
That's what you call it.
So John Kite with the ball off to the Melbourne Storm for the next couple of seasons. Big John started the year in first grade with the Bulldogs. Here's Williams. I like both back rowers, Danny Williams and Brad Moran. I reckon capable of playing a lot of first grade. Oh, there's a good shot over the top.
Great hit.
Freddie Briggs, the carpenter, has lost his hammer and his nails. He was smashed over the top.
He lost the whole pouch.
The train robber.
Good stuff, the Tigers. They may be a smaller pack, but they're leaving a mark. David and Goliath. And here's David over the top.
Don't come running in. It's a grand final. You don't want to sit down.
Get that up here, Goliath, said Al Shernack.
Oh, they're into him. The Balmain boys are into them, I can tell you. You can feel it. All the emotions with them.
And Al Shernack too, part of the West Tigers first grade squad for next year. So will his brother be. Jason, who we're going to see in the Toyota Cup Grand Final a little later on. They've got big raps on them at the Tigers.
I love that name, Al Shernack. You've got to be somebody with a name like that.
It's a tough name, isn't it?
Yeah, Al Shernack.
You wouldn't mess with a bloke called Shernack.
I don't want to fight Al Shernack.
Or Fletcher Hawkins.
What, Fletcher Hawkins? How does that come into it?
I'm not scared of Fletcher.
Jennifer's sister.
No, he's come off the bench and he's snapped lights. Here we go.
Lewis goes wide out. Tigers are away. They're set up for the try. Meany was there. Matata caught it forward to Mataka. Willie Mataka, he thought he was over. Beautiful left side raid by the Tigers. It's called forward.
Yeah, I think there's a little knock on. The play comes back inside. He tries to pass it to the man closest to him. It's the fullback, Sean Meaney, and he gets a knock on it, and the ball goes forward before it's picked up by Willie Mataka. That's unlucky for the Tigers. They were away. Gone. What's this? Here it is off the hands. There it is. The fullback, Sean Meaney, gets a little knock on.
Hasn't that gone backwards, but the ball in flight?
It's gone behind him, but the ball's probably been propelled forward. It's a technical decision, but correct, I think.
It was Callaway to Meaney, and Mataka thought he was over. So the Bulls dodge a bullet from the Tigers, and score remains at 6-0, although I can tell you're getting a little darker, a little greyer here overhead. I don't think rain is too far off, unless the King can do something about it on the sideline. I don't know how his powers work in New South Wales. Here's Williams.
The King's powers work everywhere. Yeah. They work everywhere.
Yeah. We used to think they only worked north of the border, but then he used to come down here and spank our tails down here too.
With Nick Taylor just outside the 40. He's been re-signed for next year. Last tackle here for the Bulls. And Barber kicking. He got knocked down then by Rajika. It's on the bounce. Meaney has to play at it. Sean Meaney with the ball. Machines chased this Sean Meaney for a couple of years. Had his eye on him at Manly. He was understudy to Brett Stewart. Couldn't get a look in. And Tigers picked him up this year. And then sadly for Sean, he moves on. And Brett Stewart has his troubles. As Ryan got through one and makes 30 metres. Great fend. Ryan twice away from crisp.
It's not a bad scouting tip over the years to look at the really good players in your opposition NRL teams and then go into the lower grades and see what they've got in those positions, because the kids are unlikely to get great opportunity in the top grade, and we might have a little Smokey sitting down there that should be playing first grade.
Kick over the top from Lewis. He was knocked over. Crisp has got the ball. Touch judge, referee said play on.
That was a brain explosion there by young Lewis. Third tackle.
He's given everyone a gobful. He's trying to get the attention of everyone to say he was shouldered, and I mean, looking at the replay, he probably was. The dive was a good one, but there was a bump from Barber that wasn't required, and this hurts big time. Not only do they not get a penalty, now they've conceded one.
Yeah, it's the double whammy. Well, it might even be the triple whammy. The frantic chip kick, and then can't get the penalty, now concede one. And the Bulls have got to shape up here. This is an opportunity for them to put a little bit of pressure back on Balmain and reassert their authority, because other than scoring the first try of the match, it's been a points decision for the Balmain Ryde side. I think they've been the better side.
There's no doubt in the world that the Bankstown team have come with the favourite status, and they've just thought that they go out in the field and it'll all be done. Here we go. There we go. That's first tackle again. They're playing like a team who is panicking. They don't have to.
The move was on, though. They'd worked it out the lead up for Taylor to catch it and be unopposed and go down the sideline.
He was away. He was away. It was nicely constructed, but the pass was just... I blame the outside man there, because he was just standing too flat. He should have been deeper and coming quicker onto the ball. Maybe the pass could have got out in front, but not the sort of play I would have expected at that stage of the game. That's sort of a play you would use if you were 20 in front and cruising along, but at the moment it just could invite a little disappointment into their day.
So it remains at 6-0 for Mataka. He's had a busy first half. He's had a sprinkling of first grade experience. Now 32 metres away from the line. And the talented young man's gone out there. Cowie for the Tigers. You're going to see him in jumper number 19. Good dummy half. Was actually the captain of the Toyota Cup side at one stage. Had some injuries. And now for Chernak. He's got it away to his front row partner. Gower's kept it alive. And McCowie with the ball. Only 12 metres from the line. Plays for a penalty, doesn't get it. Tigers with Lewis. This is their chance. Hard pass. Taken by Ryan. Put down by Big Bertha Callaway.
Dear, oh dear, oh dear. That was a lovely ball from Josh Lewis. Really, it should have been executed on the outside to produce points. They got outside the bulk of the defence. What's this ball from Lewis? He gets it wide. They should have had 2-on-1 there, but again, the outside men just standing, or not standing deep enough, have made them rush their work, and they've come up with the error.
You get the feeling if this young Tigers team do score one, that they might put 2 or 3 back to back. At the moment, but the Bankstown team don't look like they can do what the Tigers can do.
And McCowie made the tackle. Darker still now here at ANZ Stadium. Smith tries to make ground. He's tackled 39 metres out from the Bulls line. Got up with a little push on Al Chernak. And Gus doesn't want to fight. Crisp kicks downfield. Good angle on it. It's got away from Meany. Has found the line.
This could be a 40-20.
It'll be a 40-20. Great kick from Brent Crisp. Plenty of high fives. They're not leaving him hanging.
No, he got the hook on this one, and it was able to skim across the turf and beat the fullback Meany. Let's have a look here. He's well inside the 40, and he gets that hook and spin on it, and it goes away from the fullback and just picks up speed toward the sideline, and Meany can't even get a handle to it. So it's a big moment there for the Bulls, who would love to convert this into points.
This is a kid who I remember in that debut against Manly, and I find it amazing. I don't know what the circumstances are, why he's going back to the bush, but gee, he's definitely a first-grade player of the future.
He's from West Belconnen, I think, down that way, so he's a bush kid himself. There's Terry Lamb.
Big AFL background, Gus. He's more AFL than league through his teenage years. Young are excited to have him anyway, the young cherry pickers, as Ben Barber gets pushed back 15 metres out from the Tigers line. This is a big set for both teams right here. Crisp has got the ball. 5 away from the line. They can go left and right. They decide to go right. High ball there for Charlie Liano. And Charlie stands in the tackle, and he's come up a centimetre short. Now they go back deep for Pee Wee Moke, then for Barber. Williams on his outside kicks. Sends Taylor on the chase. Rajikas across there and gets to it.
Off Tigers.
It'll be a line drop out to the Tigers. 7.5 out from half-time.
Plenty of country people down here today, coming down to the grand finals. I ran into a couple of elderly gentlemen from Gundagai who were ruining the fact that Gundagai got belted by Wagga Kangaroos yesterday. A week after they'd belted the Wagga Kangaroos, they couldn't understand the form reversal. They got beat by 40 yesterday, and they beat Wagga by 30 the week before. How do you figure that?
It's usually all the preparation. Night before the game, maybe at the local pub, bit of darts.
It's a damning allegation from Mark Geyer.
I was drinking soda
about a match
water.
he had no idea about.
Drinking
He
soda
just
water.
slandered the players from Gundagai as playing darts and getting on the turfs
I'm sure
on national television.
I'm sure that wasn't the case.
27 metres out, 120. Going on all night at 3 a.m. in the morning. Here's Charlie Liano with the ball, 23 metres out from the line. And now Smith goes short with Kite. Kite is 15 away. How'd you like to feed this bloke? John Kite. There'll be too many leftovers for breakfast. Smith, a dummy half to Barber. Barber shaped a kick. Williams is upended. They say play on. And he's lost the ball at the end. And then Barber has kicked at the Kingdom Come, and that concedes a penalty.
You need to play it.
We'll take a break at 6-0.
You've gone over one of their players, okay? And
Grand Final day, live on the 9 Network. New South Wales Cup Grand Final. And the Bankstown City Bulls lead the Balmain Ryde Eastwood Tigers 6-0. Fred Briggs, the only try scorer in the 6th minute of play, the front rower, barged over. And here is McCowie, a dummy half. Across to Cowan, cut out ball for Ryan. Caused some problems left end right. Ryan is showing us he's got a bit of ability. 21 years of age. Callaway with the ball, 20 away.
I find myself cheering for the Tigers a little bit here. I just like their energy. They've come in as rank underdogs.
Lewis cuts out 3. Bennett. Rajika onto the ball. He's going to try and work for the narrowest of margins there along the sideline. Doesn't regather. A close-up of Rajika, and no great disrespect to him, but dead set, he looks 30 years of age. That's what they think at the school. They've had to check him, but I tell you what I do see, I see a bit of Noah Nandriku as a style of player.
Very much so.
The Tigers love him. He'll be part of the first grade squad, full off season of training alongside the NRL stars. I think you're going to see a good young player next year break into the top grade.
Well, I think similar to John Kite from the Bankstown team going to Melbourne. A lot of promise under Bellamy. I think he'll go well.
Kick downfield, Barber, good take there. At the back by Meany. And he runs back to the 20-metre line. And Ben Barber there in defence for the Bankstown side. And just a word too, Ben's playing at the moment with his brother Marmon, recently diagnosed with cancer, so it's been a tough time too for the Barber family. I'm sure he'd like a big performance today and dedicate a grand final win to his brother. Here is Gower for the Tigers. He's just short of halfway.
Well said, Vossi.
I think Barber, he too can still provide something in the top grade. Kick over the top by Lewis, wants a bounce. He doesn't quite get it, he's tapped it forward. You may have even been saying that was deliberately knocked forward, but in any case, it's a knock on. But Lewis lets us know that he's a little disappointed. And 6-0 the score remains.
This is great work. You've got to have a special sense of rugby league to put a little chip kick over the top. He almost got the rewards, but just unfortunately didn't get that last bounce. He showed plenty of energy today, young Lewis, hasn't he?
There was no question he was trying to tap it forward past the fullback. He didn't try to grab it back into his arms there. He went in with the intention of tapping it forward. Would have been one for the referee to call if he did regather.
Well, there's a bit of a blue. Oh, no. Chernak and Big Johnny Kite.
No, you want there to be a blue. You want a scrum blue on grand final day, MG.
Just a little one.
Just wipe that saliva off your chin, mate. It hasn't happened yet. The Bulls with the ball. The old softening up period, MG. That is a thing of the past.
Moi and White in the big one.
That's true. It may return. Just after 5 o'clock tonight. On Channel 9 you'll see that. The most anticipated first hit up of the game. You want it to be White for Melbourne and you want it to be Moi for Parramatta. You don't care who kicks off.
Here's another mistake, Vossi. That's a lot from Matty Utai. Obviously it's his second mistake of the game, but just the Tigers, their energy level. It's frustrating the Bankstown side.
So a scrum to pack 41 metres out from the Tigers line. Last week, as we've told you, Golden Point win over North Sydney. Can't they find a way to lose? The Bears, the tradition continues. Golden Point in a grand final qualifier. But to be fair to the Tigers, the Bears fought their way back in that match when they were down to, the Tigers were down to 12. Al Chernak was sin bin last week and the Bears scored 2 tries and that got it to 20 all. And then Lewis kicked the vital point in extra time on a day that would have blown the hair off a hippie. It was blowing a gale at Leichhardt. And the setup was beautiful for the field goal. It was a good jag to get it. Not easy.
Oh, good ball.
McCowie goes short there to Chernak. He's 38 metres away from the Bulls line. McCowie to Lewis, dummy left and right, and then another pass out the back. Dear me, they've had some trouble finding the mark with their passes.
Josh Lewis, his timing seems to be out when it doesn't have to be out. I think he's trying to rush his pass at the last option way too often. When if he has a hold of the ball and just maybe settles down a little bit, there's gaps everywhere in this defensive line for the Bankstown Bulls.
You could make the observation that the touch judge on this Western line, he could have 4 tries if he caught a ball. He's had 4 passes aimed straight at him today. One the Bulldogs where they went the short side.
There you are, mate. You're on TV.
Way to go. Let's go.
And now Barber working this scrum. Let's hope there's a bit of individual brilliance from Barber at some stage today. 29 tries he scored last year. An amazing tally. Coming down into the Toyota Cup squad. And now for Foster. Taka hops on for the ride. Good run there from Jake Foster for the Bulls. 40 metres out from the Tigers line. It's been lost.
Double knock on, then off 14.
How often does that happen today for the Bankstown team? They get down in the 40-metre line and they just cough up possession. Terry Lamb will be livid at half-time, I would imagine.
And half-time it is now for Bart to gather his thoughts and address the troops. Half-time on Grand Final Day on Nines Wide World of Sports. New South Wales Cup Grand Final, 6-0 to the Bulls. Coming up after the break, Joey Johns and Gus to relive the 2001 Grand Final Day, a day that wasn't kind of the Eels. We'll also check the latest odds with TAB Sportsbet's Glenn Munsey. Hope you're enjoying Grand Final Day. And a look at the fans. What a ride it has been for the Eels and the Storm fans on the way to the Grand Final.
It's an overcast day in Sydney, but the weather is improving. We had a lot of rain this morning, but it's clearing up. ANZ Stadium, it's the home of the NRL Grand Final for 2009. Melbourne Storm up against the Parramatta Eels later this afternoon, here live on the wide world of sports. We look forward to bringing you a wonderful afternoon of entertainment, culminating with the Grand Final, which two teams have captured our imagination in the season 2009. There you can see some of the fans who have come prepared, but so far, well, it's not, well, a little bit of slight drizzle, but nothing too dramatic at this particular point in time. Well, we know that Parramatta, they were here in 2001. It wasn't their year that year because there was a fellow called Andrew Johns who masterminded a victory for, of course, the Newcastle Knights. Down on the sideline, he's with Phil Gould.
Thank you, Kenny. Yeah, 2001, Parramatta were the number one team all season, raging hot favourites going into the big decider, but the Newcastle Knights blew them away. Joey, was it their own nerves that got the better of them, or did you have a plan?
We had a plan. It was a bit of both, Gus, but we had a plan. We come here with an ambush mentality. We wanted to start well. We knew if we let Parramatta settle into their structures, they'd probably blow us away like they did to every team. So we come with a plan to blow them away early. You know, we got to 24-0 up, got them out of their structures, and that's what Parramatta have to do today if they're going to beat Melbourne. To let Melbourne just play and get to their structures, they're so precise, they'll blow them away. But if they start well, they'll put them under pressure.
All right, well, the Parramatta Eels won't want to be reliving those moments. Here they are in the early stages of the game. I remember being at the footy show on the Thursday night just before this game, and I said to you, Nathan Kalis and Michael Vella were the two most nervous humans I've ever seen in my life.
Well, we made note of it. The grand final breakfast, there was contrasting emotions between the two teams. We were relaxed. Probably too relaxed, but the Parramatta boys, it's been well said, they were nice. They were very nervous and tense, and I think it showed at the start of the game.
It's a long time ago now, so there's not much to be learned out from these Parramatta players, who to me may well be the more relaxed of the two teams this afternoon.
Well, it's looked that way, so yeah, fingers crossed for Parramatta. They'll come here, nice and relaxed, and I'll get out there and get the job done.
All right, well, they don't have to play against Andrew Johns this afternoon. That'll be a help. Let's go over to Timmy Gilbert.
Well, another rain squall, but that doesn't stop this man. The camera absolutely loves him. Glenn Munsey from TAB Sportsbet. What's the latest?
Well, Timmy, we're betting on this game, the New South Wales Cup. We're also betting on the Toyota Cup coming up, the Melbourne Storm favourite over the West Tigers. They get 7.5 start, the West Tigers. And in the biggie today, they're now into $1.55 Melbourne. $1.60 yesterday into $1.57, now $1.55. Parramatta at $2.45. A stack of betting options available on the game. Remember, betting live right throughout the day at TAB Sportsbet.
Okay, you mentioned these options. What about some of these exotics?
Well, we've got the first try scorer market, the Clive Churchill medal. 4 players equal pick in the Clive Churchill medal. And here's an interesting one for you. Whether or not there'll be a 40-20 kicked in the grand final this afternoon. What time will the first try be scored? Under over 8 minutes. Cameron Smith, how many points he'll get? Under over a certain point. And Luke Burt. But about 40 different betting options available on the game.
To wrap it up, you need new premises if Melbourne win, don't you?
Yeah, we're eyeing off a soft piece of concrete outside Myers in the city and a nice new cardboard box for the Tabcorp building if Melbourne happen to get the result this afternoon.
Glenn Munsey on fire, Kenny.
Good on you. Thank you very much, Tim. What can't you bet on? Maybe what time we get home tonight. I don't know. But anyway, it's all part of the grand final day. We'll be back right after this.
You don't have to shout, you don't have to shout, you don't have to shout, you don't have to shout. We will go. I'll go down.
Referee's gone over, base over apex. Put that in the package. Just give us a quick one. That's it.
There you are, Balmain Ryde coming out for the second half of this New South Wales Cup against Bankstown. They trail 6-blot. Well, we've got a terrific competition for you right now. Not much a competition, but one, if you can get yourself involved in grand final memorabilia, this is really terrific before it sells out. Pre-order your team signed lithograph right now. Now, should your team not win the grand final, your order will be cancelled with no charges. Now, pre-order by calling 1300 767 020 or visit officialmemorabilia.com.au. That is a terrific piece of memorabilia. You can get involved with that and you'll be very, very happy. Right now, let's get to the second half of this New South Wales Cup match. And here is Andrew Voss.
Yes, thank you, Ken. Both teams are back out on the field, and that rain has managed to not get any heavier. Not a great worry to the players to start the second half, and to be honest, I don't think it's had a big impact on the way the match has been played. It's been more a failure by their own doing in the failure to execute plays. I don't think it's been the conditions to blame. Little stop-start early with a number of penalties in the match. We had 11 in the first half, and a good bulk of them in the first 20. Tigers with a wobbly old restart. And the Bankstown City Bulls from left to right, the minor premiers, lost only 5 games all year, but only 1 try in that first half to lead by 6 points to 0. This is a team that in the last few weeks scored 40 last week, scored 52 the week before, scored 68 in the last round of the competition before the finals, and 38 and 44 the 2 previous weeks to that. They've gone through the last 6 matches scoring at least 30 points a game, and their attack today though has not been on the money. Kick here from Barber. Very steady first set. Meany taking his time, and Meany may have had a little hand on it. He did. It's a line dropout. Taylor sprinting through. Barber's kick was perfectly weighted, and Sean Meany was desperate for this one to go touch in goal. And you'll see a sneaky, yep, he has to chest it over the line.
Perfect start, wasn't it, for the Bankstown Bulls? 80, 90 metres they've gone downfield, and you get the feeling that's either going to be Ben Barber or Josh Lewis to star in this second half. Benny Barber started beautifully in the second half there.
Line drop out, the Tigers with Lewis. And one bounce up to halfway. Fielded by Pee Wee Moke, and it's big Charlie Liano to bring it back.
Geez, a big boy, isn't he?
Well,
wow.
119 kilos, 190 centimetres. It's well over the 6 foot mark. And now Kite, who's right up there with him in those physical dimensions, as Williams gets a run. Seems a bit more purpose just about the opening stages to the second half for the Bulls. Terry Lamb's words are still fresh in their ears. And now Foster, 3 metres from the line. The Bulls with a dummy out of dummy half from Smith, and held up by 3 over the top was Fletcher Hawkins. Last tackle. Big play here for the Bulls and for the Tigers. Deep and right is Barber. Barber with a step. His chip has bounced off a leg. I didn't think it was played out. The referee says it was. Well, I don't agree with that one, but they've got another 6 tackles. Now Pee Wee Moke. And Crisp is flat. Almost through. Got past the tackle of McCowie. 3 metres from the line. Smith again. They're going to go for the power play again. They've lost it again, the Bulls.
Before the line.
Good work by the Tigers. I was starting to cheer for them, now I think I am, because they're just out there doing their best. It was played at there, Vossi, so it was a good call.
Good call by referee G.
He might have got a little knock on there, Barber, in trying to regather it, but that's fair enough. 6 again, and the Tigers have been able to repel them. And I'm just loving their spirit today. It's terrific. Up against more qualified opposition, but no fear at all.
I remember, boys, in 1986 we played South Sydney under 23s grand final, and they had star-studded team. They ended up beating us, but due to the experience we gained from that day, these young Tiger Blacks I think will take into their careers big time, because they're absolutely giving it 100% today.
I played in a reserve grade semi-final against Ron Coote and Ray Brannigan at the cricket ground.
There you go.
Back in those days, internationals would play in reserve grade back in the 70s. But my first finals appearance was, I think, 1977, reserve grade with Penrith, and the likes of Brannigan and Ron Coote were coming back through reserve grade in those days, and that's the sort of experience we got, and the players we played in reserve grade.
Yeah, Lewis kicked downfield there. Georgie Piggins, he played a lot of reserve grade at Souths in a great era behind Elwyn Walters. And they both ended up playing for Australia as it was. And I can remember more recently too, Manly, they had Ray Brown, and he was coming out of reserve grade, got picked in an Australian squad, the hooker, behind Max Skrillage.
When I started grade football back in the 70s, if you got a chance to play up in the reserve grade, you played against some really great players, internationals, and some fellas that were probably past their best in first grade, but they come back. I played against Arthur Beetson in reserve grade.
Wow.
In the late 70s.
Nathan Benny there to play it. 22 metres out from the line. The Bankstown City Bulls. Liano Barber has been put down again by the Bulls. It was Pee Wee Moke who couldn't handle, and they're getting frustrated now. I said there's more purpose about their work, but they've still come up with the handling errors.
Yeah, they are. They're trying to force the pace here a little bit. I'd say they've got a rocket from Terry Lamb at half-time saying that they're too lethargic. They've got a lead on the scoreboard. They're heavy favourites for this game, being minor premiers. And they're just assuming it will happen. Well, now that they've tried to raise the pace, suddenly the moisture on the ground and a little bit of a slippery football is working against them, and they're finding points not so easy to come by. If the Tigers can hold on and not crack and be next to score, we've got a real game.
So Tigers, Barber got very quickly out of marker there. Tigers weren't too pleased about it. The tackle on Callaway, getting outside their own 30. Toyota Cup to come up after this one, and that is the West Tigers against the Melbourne Storm. Great achievement by the Storm Club, grand final in the two main grades. And their feeder club in this, the Central Coast Storm, were knocked out by the Tigers in week 2 of the finals. They'll have their own New South Wales Cup side next year, Melbourne, a real footy club. They'll have a reserve grade team. Kick from the Tigers will go dead in goal. In fact, penalty for a challenge on the kicker. Caught everyone by surprise there.
Shoulder.
Yeah, didn't seem to be too much in that. He kicked the ball out the back door. It wasn't as though anyone was going to get to it. Let's have a look. There's the kick.
Oh, that's harsh, isn't it?
There's nothing in that. He's kicked it into the bleachers. No one was going to get it.
And what was Kite supposed to do? He was mid-air.
Lewis has played for a penalty and got his side one there.
Don't start me early in the game.
We're not here to upset you, Gus. 7 metres out from the line. If we get a try off the torso in a moment, that may tip you right over the edge early. Gower, 3 metres away from the line, the Tigers. Great chance, their best of the second half. Cowan goes out the back to Meaney. Meaney tries to stand up Winatana, but Hekanenai is there to make the tackle as well. Callaway dummy half. 8 out from the line, Billy Callaway. Bustling Billy. Is pushed back by the Bulls defence. And they're still 5 metres out. Meaney a little deeper this time to Cowan. Cowan across to Lewis. Lewis elects to kick. Taylor was awake to it. He's got it covered. He's then pushed out of the way. It's gone dead in goal. So you can have a penalty 10 metres out, or you can have a tap on the 20-metre line. Let's go down to Wally Lewis.
Well, there'll be a little bit of relief there at the moment for Terry Lamb, the Bankstown coach. He probably said to his players at half-time, look, I want you to do a little bit of better ball control as they receive a penalty. There he is. He just pointed out as his team last attacked the line that they wasted yet another opportunity, and it did appear as though that they were going to be stung very heavily with 6 points coming from Balmain. But they seem to have got out of jail, but he's just released the message again to them. Ball security is our number one aim.
See Vossi talking about lower grade depth too. I remember in the 80s, I played 84, 85 at the Bulldogs, 83, 84, 85. We won the premierships in 84, 85. And in reserve grade in those years, we had fellas like Darryl Broman, Phil Sigsworth, Jim Lease, Ross Conlon, Greg Mullane, all who had played representative class football. That was the strength of the club, that you would have half a dozen representative class players going around in the reserve grade as depth to your first grade side. It's no wonder we won a couple of comps, I suppose, but we only just narrowly won over Parramatta and the Dragons.
In the meantime, the Bankstown City Bulls have got the ball up inside the 20. Good run it was down the left from Williams, but it is the last tackle again. Barber goes low, back there. Oh, it's knocked by Billy Callaway, and then the Bulls haven't capitalised at all. In fact, they've said that they got enough of a hand on it, the Balmain Ryde Eastwood side, to force a line dropout. But Billy Callaway, that may have been the worst moment of his career right there. Had this been a try.
Yeah, young Callaway owes Meaney a big schooner, because that was a save and a half.
Well, that's experience, because even if he picks it up, he's got nowhere to go. So he's better off just forcing the ball or batting it dead. And trying to pick it up there was no result for him. There was no good result trying to do what he did.
Back up with a line drop out now. Matt Utah, I haven't seen much of him, but now he gets the feet moving. He's got his orange boots on. Poor old Changer. I say it every time when I see it. He's stopped the career of it. Utah's been upended here in front of the post. Still a chance to get to 8-0 here. But what about the boots Matt Utah's got on?
That's 2 for you. You're already on report once. Fix it up.
Well, back in the 70s and 80s, you wouldn't wear boots like that.
That's 2 for you. You're on report. Fix it up. What's the sin bin for?
That's a pretty leery pair of boots, isn't it?
And Brent Crisp will go for goal. And this to take him to 292 points and open up that 8-point lead. So for all their spirit, for all their effort and enthusiasm, they're still 0, the Tigers, in this one.
Or where you are.
And in this second half, it's been all defence for them, hasn't it? You can see that the Bankstown side have certainly tried to lift the intensity of their play and assert their authority, but the Tigers are hanging on grimly. Whether they can mentally stay in touch if they get more than 6 points behind here when this kick goes over, but that's the test. And again, low-scoring grand final, and I'm thinking maybe this could be the trend for the day because we've still got some rain clouds overhead. I don't think we've seen the last of the rain.
So the kick from Crisp in the New South Wales Cup grand final. It's the Bankstown City Bulls 8 leading the Tigers 0. On Nine's Widewater Sports grand final day out here at ANZ Stadium. And 11 minutes into the second half and the Bulls lead by 8. Some very proud parents down on the sideline right now with our own Tim Gilbert.
Vossi, 2 very special guests, Peter and Julie Mortimer, Daniel's parents. Julie, first up, is it nerves, is it excitement, or a combination of both?
A bit of both. Nervous butterflies today, definitely. Not so much through the week, but today.
Who would have ever thought that Peter Mortimer would be wearing a Parramatta badge?
Well, that's not the only thing Parramatta I'm wearing. Daniel's number, 710, this tie was given to him, so I'm wearing that as well. Let's hope it's an omen.
How are you feeling?
I feel terrific. I feel proud, but also a little bit nervous at the moment, and I feel quietly confident that they might be able to get away with this one.
How proud are you, Julie? You've got 5 boys.
5 boys, yes. Extremely proud today. Yeah, we all are. All the boys are really excited and just can't wait for the day.
He seems to contain his nerves well.
Yeah, he's a pretty cool customer, but being the fourth in a team of 5 boys, he doesn't get too agitated, and if ever he tries to, he gets put back in his place pretty quickly. So, no, he's a good boy, and he's got a level head.
I'll leave it with your advice to him both. You both have had a chat with him. What did you say to him, Julie?
I love you. That was it.
That's good enough, Peter.
Listen to your coach. That's all he needs to do.
Peter, Julie, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Tim.
Good stuff, Tim, and thanks to Julie and Peter. May they enjoy the day. Their boys done good so far. Brent Crisp with the ball for the Bulls just outside their own 10 at 8-0. Tigers need to be the next to score in this one. But not sure where the try is going to come from. They've had a few chances left and right, not executing the plays all that well. Matt Ryan looked pretty impressive out at left centre there in the first half a couple of times. I'd like to see him get a bit more ball.
Yeah, and it looks more likely that the tries will come from a grubber kick, either some sort of little one in behind the line or a chip kick out in general play to create the space, because it's hard for them to produce the right pass close to the line.
Good play by Benny, then he lost the ball. It was a great run, an energetic hustle and bustle run, and Nathan Benny gets up and lets the referee know that he thought the ball was stripped off him. It was the old ball up the back trick.
Yeah. Ball hadn't been played, boys.
Some of the better players today have been from the bench. This young bloke on screen has been great since he's come off the bench, and John Kite, we've mentioned his name a bit today, and also Fletcher Hawkins, and maybe the players on the field should take a little bit more note from the players coming off the bench, because they are having an immediate impact.
Let's go, boys.
So Tigers scrum feed 25 metres out from their own line. Cowan it is who manages to get outside the 30. Scored a couple of tries against them earlier this year. That was Brett Lane who had the ball, but Gavin Cowan scored 2 tries against the Bulls when they clashed back in round 4. Now Bennett, the captain, he's short of halfway, with Ryan Carr and Lewis goes short to the right-hand side. They're trying to test this Bulls defence on the fringe. And another run there for Gower. Now Lewis, cross with Farlow. Farlow is almost offloading. 30 metres from the line, last tackle the Tigers. Cowan, he's up to the line, kick off the legs. Wasn't played at, still the last tackle. Chernak back away for Farlow. Doesn't look like he's kicked the football too much in his career. He got one in. Taylor's got the ball, skipped away from a tackle, and then grabbed there by Brett Lane.
Stand square.
He looked reluctant to kick it, didn't he? He wondered why he'd got the ball on tackle 5, but he came up with a reasonable effort, and the Tigers have now got to rally up and try and tackle a mistake into the Bulls. Desperately need to be next to score.
Outside the 30, team coached by Terry Lamb. And 31 out from their own line. Barber's kick, well, he doesn't go for much length on it. That's a strange one from Ben Barber.
It was a sandwich, wasn't it?
It was like a deep bomb, and he was the only man really getting through to it.
What's the time now? We're about 20, coming up nearly 25 past 1. So the players from Parramatta and the Storm probably having their last meal of the day. A little bit of late lunch and a bit of a lay down before getting ready to get on the bus and come out.
Each of their own, what they eat, Gus, on grand final day?
They'll have their routine. You know, everyone is a little different. But, you know, basically they'll have something substantial at this time, and some will go and put their head down for half an hour. Others will throw the ball up and down the corridors of the hotel. Others will go for a walk. Others sit around with the music in the ears and pop away.
Lewis's kick here, it's taken on the toe by the hooker Ryan Carr, but the Bulls have come up with it.
Always off the feet.
Rule a knock on.
Always off the feet, knock on Tigers.
So let's go down to the sideline. Wally Lewis.
Well, I think both coaches will be a little bit disappointed what they're seeing at the moment, Vossi. Their teams just seem to be going through the motion at the moment, getting field position, but they're not trying to land that knockout punch. Now, I know the slippery conditions may have just kept that at bay a little bit, but I think that they need a couple of their strike players to really step up at the moment. Halfway through the second half is usually where a match is decided.
Gus, you've just described exactly what the players would go through before a game, but what about from a coach's perspective? What will Daniel Anderson at the moment be feeling, and Craig Bellamy?
Well, to be honest, mate, you get to grand final day and you feel a bit helpless. It's all been done, and the biggest thing I found was not to get near the players, you know, to keep your distance and just allow them to enjoy their preparation on their own and not to put any of your nervous energy back onto them. You know, there's not much you can do today other than keep a check on the weather, have a check for any late changes to the opposition. Your biggest job will come at half-time. That'll be your biggest job on grand final day, and you've got to get that right.
Here's the Bulls, Gus, with Utai getting inside the 40. That's a trademark run from Matt Utai. Barber's now got the ball. Got away from Lewis. Now Lewis to an intercept. Put a foot on the line. Gus, he's put a foot on the sideline.
Feed to Bankstown.
And the touchy's got his flag in the air.
Straight up.
Straight up.
Decision's made.
Sign this touchy up.
Pack the scrum, he says. By God, I hope he's right, though.
Sign him up.
Utai, great run. Lewis is beaten there, and he comes back for the intercept play. And Gussie, I think there was a toe there, wasn't there? Toe on the boot.
Well, there must have been, because he put the flag up.
That's right.
He's our man.
He should have been in Origin. We wouldn't have had all those replays.
At least we can say sprinters do run on their toes in this instance. So the toe would have come down on the line, or part of it.
Jared Haynes' heel never touched the line.
I proved it did, Gus.
No, it
I did after the game. I showed you where the imprint was.
You went down and put the heel mark in yourself.
Oh, that's scandalous. That's terrible. So accusing me of that.
Sean, quicker.
And here is Moran for the Bulls. I may have. I cannot recall. 12 metres out from the line. The Bulls, Smith, and now from Briggs, their try scorer, the lone try scorer in this one.
They're in trouble now, the Tigers.
Now they go left. Barber's starting to put a bit of a mark on it. It's put down by Taylor.
That's a let-off.
Big time.
That's a let-off. You could just see physically and mentally the Tigers were thinking maybe this was going to get too much for them. And the Bulls have helped them by coming up with an error with the try line wide open. Should have nailed this.
Well, they've made 41 extra tackles of the Tigers. Something like 11 extra sets the Bankstown Bulls have had, and it's starting to really show, isn't it?
Scrum 10 out from the Balmain Ryde Eastwood line. I'm sure we've got a big crew of fans watching at the Ryde Eastwood Leagues Club in inner Sydney. Watching your team play here. Good luck to you. They're still in it, but they need points. Callaway is pushed back to 4 metres out from the line. Interviewed Paul Fletcher at the Tigers Grand Final luncheon on Friday. Pretty unassuming character. He was proud of his team to get this far. Untidy play the ball. They get it. They concede the penalty.
Oh.
Well, it was like a moment in time. You wondered, was the penalty going to go either way? It was hard to tell. And he's got to stand to his feet to the Bulls.
You're not captain, Ryan. Go.
Well, he got to his feet. He got to his feet.
Another 2 points here.
Much advantage, 8-10, Gus, you think? Given how the run of play is going at the moment?
Well, the tries are hard to come by, and if he kicks this goal and they handle the next set of 6 well and get it back down this end, you know, the Tigers start to lose touch with winning the game. For mine, the Tigers are ready to crack at the moment. They've been very resilient and quite spirited, but I've just seen signs here that mentally they're losing touch, and I'd have been tempted to take the tap and extend the 8-14 if I could. Having said that, you'll probably kick this goal in a 10-point break with how long to go now? 19 minutes to go is a handy one in any grand final.
So Crisp, with this goal, will get to 294 points. No, for his sake, he hits the 300 mark. It's quite a moment. He goes into that little squat position twice before he kicks. That's his style. Brett Crisp for the Bankstown City Bulls in the New South Wales Cup Grand Final against the Tigers. He's put them 10-0 in front on Grand Final day. In the New South Wales Cup Grand Final, the Bulldogs Bankstown City Bulls have taken a step closer to taking the trophy at 10-0. And Moran to play it. Well, he's walked off the mark at least 4 metres there. And then Briggs has lost it.
Bit of karma. It's karma.
And then Farlow has he's headbutted a teammate in bending over to pick up the ball. He went into Vinacusi. And the Tigers are 40 metres out from the line, and Bennett copped the bump and ricochet. And he's now trying to lift his team. They have to score next. They just have to score, and now Gower's lost it. And Crisp is onto it for the Bulls. And if he beats this tackle, he's away. He's just short of halfway. He's been pretty strong today, Brett Crisp. Now Tim Winatana. 38 metres from the Tigers line. Not quite on the rack, but getting close to it.
Yeah, crunch time for the Tigers. This next couple of sets of 6 will be vital here. They've got to keep the Bulls away.
Utai, another runner. Do you like to try and stop him?
You just get the feeling they're ready to crack the Tigers. And a few blokes starting to walk. And although I can't hear them, here's another error from the Bulls that's going to help. You know, you're pretty deaf sitting up here. You can't hear what's happening down on the field, but they look quiet, if you can look quiet. There doesn't seem to be a lot of talk amongst the troops as there was earlier in the game. And the Bulls can't find the finishing blow, can they? They just seem to be coughing up possession and squandering chances.
It's almost like, Gus, that they're looking at the clock, the Bankstown Bulls, and they're thinking, okay, if we get one more try, we've got it, but it's so hard to get this last try.
Yeah. I'll tell you too, and you've got to keep this in mind, and you'll relate to this, mate, that having been a first grader, as a lot of these Bulls players have, coming back into reserve grade, it's hard mentally to have that same feeling about it, you know. And and whilst they're out there doing their job and they're for their teammates, it's not as intense, it's not as clinical. The standard of football isn't as great, and it's hard to be at your best in these situations, and that's why the enthusiasm of the younger Tigers players here, or the less experienced Tiger players, has carried them a long way in this contest.
Right, Gus, for a number of these Tigers, it's the first time they've been in even a television game, which is another point to it. Something they're going to have on the shelf when they're old and grey and smoking a pipe on the front porch.
Well, yeah, and to be honest, the blokes in the Bulls side are just wishing they're playing first grade. You can't get away from that fact. It's something you've got to come to terms with as a footballer, particularly if you're sort of a fringe first grader, that you are going to play plenty of footy in the lower grade, and you've got to convince yourself, if you do, well, I've got to be the best player on the field if I want to be a first grader.
Tigers work across centre field, and Lewis, there was an opportunity there, and Brett Lane put it down, and Barber's onto it, and it's good night. Here goes Barber, try-scoring specialist. Benny Barber sprints away. I don't know what he's just done after he scored, but I don't think he cares. He's got the try that may seal the grand final. Ben Barber sprinting away, having latched onto a Brett Lane drop ball.
That's ironic, isn't it? They couldn't manufacture their own try, but finally Barber sweeps onto an error from the Tigers, and he's able to race at 70 metres. And this could potentially give the grand final to the Bankstown Bulls. Look at that smart little pick up there. And off he goes, and once it got into a foot race, none quicker than this young man who just sprints away, runs it in, and the Bankstown Bulls go to a 12-0 lead.
14.
Performance antiperspirant. Brute, still brutally male.
Grand final day, and the Bulls lead by 14 here over the Tigers, and Crisp, who went into today with 288 points. He's chipping away towards 300. And you sort of get the feeling that try has broken the Tigers' spirit, and I think the next set is going to be very telling to see how they come out here. Wally Lewis sideline.
That's a very important point, that one, Bossy. I think you can probably expect to see the Bankstown boys open up a little bit now, become a lot more confident than they have been throughout the course of the game, whereas Balmain, well, I think they're going to be scratching their heads wondering what they can do from here on.
So 14-0, Crisp missed his first shot of the day. And Briggs it is who's lost it. Tigers are still in the game. The man who made the tackle has been knocked cold. This is a sensation.
Ryan,
it's a great tackle.
Just leave that ball there for me, mate.
Was it Chernak who got in there?
It might be Bennett, the captain.
Briggs coughed the ball up. In fact, it's Jared Farlow now. He produced one big hit in the first half. Well, someone will have to tell him about the tackle, but it's the one that's kept his team in the match.
That is, you've heard me speak about this a number of times, but tackling big men head on with your head down there like that is yet another lesson to parents and young coaches about teaching your men to tackle standing up when they're tackling head on. That's awful.
Well, with 13 minutes remaining in this one, and a lot of concern for Jared Farlow, we'll take a break. Grand final day, you're watching it live on Channel 9. Here at ANZ Stadium, grand final day on Channel 9, and the Medicab now out there for Jared Farlow, and Al Chernak getting ready to come on. But when play does resume, it'll be the Tigers to play it 10 metres out from the line, 12 and a half remaining. I'll go as far as saying they have to score in this set, Gus. They have to be thinking about it now, what we're going to do right now. Josh Lewis is doing that, talking to his teammates. He's the shot caller. And they have to come up with something in this set. Unexpected chance with the ball.
Absolutely. Yep, they need a try now. But most of the concern at the moment for this young man, who got his head in an awkward position when making a tackle, and the medical men were out there very, very quickly. They've subdued the situation, and they've got him sitting up on the Medicab, which is a very good sign, Jared Farlow.
They've got a play set ready to go. Straight out the right side towards the winger Rajika here. But a few players are going to look like they're going to run some lines here on the right-hand side. And they might test out the wing of Taylor. Let's see what unfolds. 10 metres out from the line. They hit it up with Gower. I expected a little more than that. They're 3 metres away from the line. That gives the Bulls defence a chance to set. Now Lewis with the ball into Meany, and in off his wing was Taylor to make the tackle. Lane at dummy half. Lewis goes short. Vinakisi with it now, 5 away. So the Bulls just want to hang on in this set. Lewis throws. It was forward to Gower, they say. The Tigers protest. It falls on deaf ears.
Well, this was a case of being flamboyant when the situation didn't call for it. It's one of those no-look passes, and he's looking out the back and trying to pretend something else is happening. I think the pass went backwards, but it gives the appearance of going forward because you're feigning away doing something else, and that's not what was needed at that time. Needed something more deliberate and direct.
Bulls win the scrum with 12 minutes remaining. High error count, 16-12 in this one. As the Bulls work out of trouble, and so many people have been devastated by the sufferings of victims and families because of the tsunami that struck Samoa and the earthquake victims in Padang. Family members lost, friends missing, and today we urge you to get behind the Australian Red Cross appeal. And you can go to redcross.org.au to learn how to assist. That's redcross.org.au as the Bulls continue their attack 33 metres out from the line. It's $10,000 donated by the NRL, by the Storm, by Parramatta. Tip over the top by John Kite, the front rower. You can hear him coming. And the fullback, Meaney, got onto the ball and thankfully avoided John. Where did that come from? John Kite utilising the chip most unexpectedly. It's a deft kick.
Yes, well, underneath that big frame is obviously an entertainer. A man bursting to get out and show his skills.
Intercept, Barber's onto it.
That's it.
Barber's got another one. Lewis the passer. Barber has scored again. Ben Barber in the side, coached by Barber Lamb. And it's bye-bye Balmain Ryde because the Bulls are home. There's a lot of B's in that. It's 18-0.
Well, he's come up with a couple of crucial steals, hasn't he? And Lewis going across field, and Barber just read him like a race form. Snapped in between, got the ball, races in under the post. Grand final gone.
Well, the Bulldogs are going to get a victory on grand final day with their feet aside the Bankstown City Bulls. With 9 to go, they're 18-0 up. And Brent Crisp, 294 points for the year. I think now they really will throw it around. Both tries have come from Tigers errors, the last two. The only other try of the match was in the 6th minute of play.
This is a great feeling in a grand final with 8 minutes to go, knowing that you've got the grand final done and dusted. You can start throwing the ball around a little bit out in the field. Some of the reserves will get a run that maybe wouldn't have. Benny Barber's had a sensational second half, but on conversely, Josh Lewis has had a pretty ordinary second half.
Stay on!
And here is Lewis. And still no short kick-off as they get it down to the goal line of the Bulls. I think we'll see a chip over the top this time. I know it is tackled 15 metres out from the line.
Terry Lamb, the coach, reporting on the sideline there. I can remember him scurrying over for a try in the 1988 grand final off a Jason Alchin pass. Put the game beyond doubt for the Bulldogs back in 1988. There's only about 10 or 11 minutes left on the clock at that time. It was against the Balmain Tigers.
Here's Barber again. He's just running the show for Williams for the Bulls. He had options left and right. He goes left to Taylor. They're putting plenty of icing on this cake, the Bulls. They're putting a few candles on now as well. It's a slashing try, the best of the match. And Ben Barber, MG, just gave him the rap as saying he'd had a terrific second half. He's the headline act in the second 40.
As Gus mentioned, Terry Lamb would have said something to his troops at half-time. Williams has had first great experience, and he shows here because he dummied right, went left when the Tigers didn't think he would. And beautiful try, as you said, Bossy. Try of the game thus far. In the corner goes young Taylor.
Bankstown City, Nick Taylor. Bankstown.
Well, now that the Bankstown City Bulls have run away with it, I hope this young bloke reaches the 300 points. This is for 298. He'd be kicking for 300 now if he had got the last one. Or the one from the previous Barber try. But and here's the kick. He's got it. So he's 298 points for the season. And the Bulls are home at 26-0. They led only 6-0 at half-time. And now to a special guest on the sideline, a man who won 3 premierships with Parramatta. A proud Eel is with Tim Gilbert.
Yeah, he certainly did, Bossy, and you can tell who he goes for. How's it going to go this afternoon, Peter Wynn?
Oh, I'm very excited about the game. It's a great matchup. I think the Eels have got a lot of momentum up, and I'm tipping Parramatta to win the game today. You can't take the Storm lightly, of course. I mean, they've been here 4 times. They know what it takes to win a grand final, and we're probably lucky at Parramatta. A few of the players have tasted what it's like to lose a grand final. I'm sure with that knowledge, they'll come to the forefront and help the younger blokes through the tough times, and we'll win the game.
Did you feel the excitement when you got up this morning? I know the butterflies obviously aren't there because you're not playing.
Oh, it's been a great buzz. Look, it's been a great buzz all week, you know. I've been very fortunate to have played with the Eels and during the 80s when we won grand finals, and now to actually be involved in business and to see the fans come out of the woodwork and just see what it means to them. It's a great thrill for me as a person. The other thing I see the other side too, Tim, is that back in those days we saw the euphoria of the fans as we left the Sydney Cricket Ground to come back to Parramatta and to mix with the crowd outside the lease. But now to see the fans come into the streets of Parramatta at such an early time of the day, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, and great breaking news today. Peter Wynn will retire after the week he's had at Peter Wynn's school. Good on you, Pete.
Hey, mate, thanks for having me along. And go Para!
Peter Wynn, as the Tigers attack, they may get their first try of the day right on the goal line. They'll have a shot at a dummy half. They'll come up short again. In-goal judge had a close look at it. So too the referee. Last tackle, the Tigers. Moran gets off his line. Lewis has got it. Lewis is now in big trouble. Lewis throws a pass out. Not much for Callaway to do. It's ended up over the sideline. But they had a chance. Had an odd play while we were speaking with Peter. It's not often you see a kick-off restart and the penalty go against the team who was looking to catch the ball, but Chris was ruled to have touched it before the ball had broken the plane. It has to go 10 metres. It doesn't have to touch the ground. It has to break the plane above the 40-metre line. And I think Chris was arguing, well, I took off before the 40, but that doesn't matter. The ball has to break the plane in mid-air.
Maybe young Chris has got the 300-point landmark on his mind as well, but I was just more worried. There we go, here on the screen. Oh, interesting if he took that. So it wouldn't have mattered if he taken the ball.
The ball has to break the plane. He jumped from inside the 40, but the ball has to pass the mark mid-air. And there is a tackle from Matt Utai.
The pool table put the white ball in the side pocket.
But the white ball, that's not much good to him. And here's the Tigers, 18 metres out from the line. It was on Lewis. I want to play him junior game of pool, let me tell you.
I'm not good.
And it is with Cowan. They go short there to Meany. Billiards might be more your game, energy.
Walter Linden
putting the white ball away off the cannon. And now the Tigers, they're still trying. The dummy half players, all they've got, and they've lost the ball again. This is a team that has lost its way, and understandably at 26-0.
Yeah, by the same token, though, the Bulls have shown a bit of pride in their line there, haven't they? They've got their heads on the podium, ready to get the winner's medal, but still deciding they're not going to concede points unless humanly possible, and come up with some good defence there, a couple of sets of 6 in a row to keep their score to 0.
Still thinking about the Peter Wynn interview just in Gus. He was my maths teacher in Year 8 at Wayland High School.
Peter Wynn was your maths teacher?
There you go. So it's his fault.
Well, he put that maths to good use, didn't he? He's counting his money ever since.
For those of you who don't know, Peter Wynn has a sports store in the heart of Parramatta, has for many years, and you can imagine what sort of week he's had. He was a guest on the Today Show on Friday, and he said he's had a steady week. And at that moment, he dropped a wad of hundreds on the ground out of a money clip.
Steady means holiday house at Avoca.
He just let it blow away. And that kick through has beats He's produced a piece of magic.
Wow.
What about that play? Well, he's taken the ball. He's taken the wallet of the 2 players. I'm looking, they've got their socks, but only just. That's incredible. That is incredible. And Brett Chris will get a kick for 300 points. But here is the super thief. Lewis is back there. Cowan is back there, and Barber's got the ball. Ali Barber and the 40 Thieves.
Well, he'd steal your play lunch, wouldn't he? He's come up with a couple of intercepts, and now just an absolute pinch. That's your greatest. 1, 2, 3. They've all been pinches.
Yes.
It's my greatest fear when I go into a crowded place, whether someone will pinch my wallet. And Benny Barber's he's just pinched it there.
I suppose it depends where you are.
That's the way it goes. Good effort to make the grand final, don't worry about it.
So Cowan back at fullback, and Lewis was the man who was his halves partner to start the day. But Ben Barber, 3 second-half tries, a hat-trick in grand final day, and Crisp has rounded it off to hit 300 points for the season. His next game will be with the young cherry pickers.
And there's Terry Lamb, the coach, one of the greatest players to ever play our game, the Bulldog great. And I don't think it's the first time he's coached the premiership winning side either at the lower grades of the Bulldogs.
No, it is not.
About the third, I think.
Yeah.
And as a player, 3 wins in 84 and 88 and 95. So the final seconds of this one. No short kick-off this time from the Tigers. And it is the minor premiers and a first win today for the favourites.
See, the thing about Terry Lamb too, he coached first grade at the Tigers, you know, but he's still gone back and put some time into the lower grades and development. And that's the sort of club man he's always been. Nothing for him to come down a few cogs and go back and help these fellas, that many of them are semi-professional these days.
So the Bulls, the last play of the game, knocked down, taken on the toe, picked up by Callaway, and there it is. A feeder team for the Bulldogs, a grand final win. They won the under-16 title this year, they won the under-18 title, and now they've won the New South Wales Cup. We all know how well their first grade side went this year. Full time in the New South Wales Cup. And the Bankstown City Bulls 32, defeating the Balmain Ryde Eastwood Tigers 0 after it was 6-0 at half-time. Coming up on our coverage on Grand Final Day, the presentation from this one, the Lap of Honour, plus we meet the soon-to-be most famous 8-year-olds in rugby league. Grand Final Day 2009, a day when everyone realises you can't have a great team without having a great captain to lift the premiership trophy.
He started the afternoon on 208.
He backpedals, and he gets it away from Mellenbauer. Mellenbauer scored through the magic of Jared Hay. Slater, a kick, a regather, a try. Greg Inglis goes in. Luke Bowles scored. Here's a try. And Miller has scored. He's away. Inglis is going to get it right back down. Robson support, Mortimer support, Mortimer's heading for the line, Mortimer scores for Parramatta.
Welcome back to ANZ Stadium, NRL Grand Final Day. We've seen Bankstown take out the New South Wales Cup, coached by Terry Lamb, and that's a terrific effort for the young fella. We call him young, he never ages, great fellow. With him right now, Tim Gilbert.
Liam, one of the true legends of the game, Terry, very satisfying as a coach.
It is satisfying, mate. We've been the best team all year. We've got the minor premiership and lucky enough to get the grand final, but Balmain stuck it to us early in that first half.
What did you have to say to them at half-time? Because I think a lot of people expected your team to be further ahead.
Respect the opposition. We didn't control the ball very good. You know, they probably should have been 18-6 up at half-time, and all credit, our defence was fantastic and has been all year. So we went away with it in the second half.
Finally, how proud are you of a guy like Matt Utai, who's had such a tragedy this week?
Yeah, mate, I didn't know if Matty was going to play. I never had a chat to him. He just came up and he said, I'm okay to play. So we played the respect to the people over in Samoa.
Good on you, Terry. Thank you.
Thanks, Jimmy. Cheers.
Thank you very much, Tim. There with Terry Lamb, coach of Bankstown. They've just won the New South Wales Cup and the presentation is taking place. You know, from adversity, great things happen in all sorts of areas of sport, particularly in rugby league. Now, when Telstra conducted their Money Can't Buy competition, the Minto Cobras under 8s, they really stood up and they were counted. Emily Barker takes up the story about these young fellows who are going to be here later this afternoon, who are going to hand out the rings to the grand finalists for 2009, and the big one, of course, between the Parramatta Eels and the Storm. Emily Barker reports.
This club was formed in 1968. We've been running out of Townsend Oval Minto since 1982.
Okay, who have we got here?
Jacob, Chelsea, Nathan.
And who's the oldest here? Me.
And you're all on the same team?
Yeah.
How do you go? Do you give the boys a bit of a hard time? Does she?
Yeah, she's the best football player.
We've had a good year this year. All our competitive sides from 8s to 16s made the semi-finals. Our under-16s won the premiership.
You guys have had a good year. You've had a few things go wrong.
A few setbacks, but nothing can stop us. But loving our footy.
I had a phone call saying that the clubhouse was on fire. By the time I got here, I could see the flames, and there was fire brigade, police here, and it was a sad day for us, and especially seeing these kids run around, and that's what it's all about.
This club has produced many premiership winning players over the years, including John Skandalis and Israel Folau. Perhaps some of these kids will go on to win premierships one day, but right now they're just excited to be part of the big day. Are your friends at school jealous?
Yeah, especially my dad.
How does he want to do it?
Yeah, I told him that he's too old to do it.
What are you excited about? Is there a player you want to meet, or...?
Yeah, there's a player I want to meet.
Who?
He's my favourite player.
Who's your favourite player?
Jared Hayne. I forgot his name.
Who does he play for?
Eels.
Eels, Jared Hayne?
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be playing in a premiership one day.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's my dream.
Lovely story there from Emily Barker. Here are the Minto under-8s. This is the Cobra team. They've got this terrific thing coming up this afternoon. What a wonderful experience for these kids. They'll be handing out the rings to the grand finalists in that terrific grand final we're all looking forward to. And of course, that's the Parramatta Eels up against the Melbourne Storm. Fellas, once again, who's going to win the big one? Oh, okay, a little bit of mixed response there, but most of them going for Parramatta. Peter Sterling, you will be happy about that.
No doubt, Ken. Minto 8's looking very good. Nearly as tall as you, actually, but a thrill of a lifetime for those young men, no doubt. And, of course, with Bankstown City drawing first blood on grand final day, we turn our attention now to the Toyota Cup Under-20s grand final. I'm joined by Andrew Johns and by Wendell Saylor. Wendell, obviously, you'd prefer to be here as a player. That wasn't to be. And some disappointment for the Dragons under-20s. They finished second behind Manly on the competition ladder. Both of those sides missed out. The Dragons knocked out last week by a Tigers outfit that looks very good, especially around the halves.
Yeah, certainly. The Dragons boys will be pretty disappointed. The Tigers back row, very formidable, very powerful. And young Robert Louis, the 5'8", big raps on him, good footwork, good vision. So, if he gets a good platform, could be a bit of trouble for the Storm today.
Okay, they finished fourth, the Tigers, after the domestic rounds. Melbourne were third. Yep. And I would think probably advantageous for them to have their NRL side still